Hey everybody, welcome to the REtoken live workshop on Trello 101. Trello is a project management tool that Yanks and I have been using for a long time. I found it super helpful and effective in our business. Wanted to see how we can use this more effectively and make sure that everybody's on the same page about what it is, how it works, and to answer any questions. So for starters, on my screen, Trello.com is what I'm looking at. This is a board that is usually private. We set it to public because part of our commitment to transparency is REtoken. Anybody who has this link up top, Trello slash with the middle part, REtoken DAO, can see this. It is public. Anybody who we invite to edit it can edit it. And if you guys like this tool, we can set up additional tools that are not public, but this one we did set to public so that we can increase our transparency and our SEO for that. So that's the first thing. Second thing is what Trello is if any of you guys have ever been familiar with Agile, or if any of you guys have organized a project by sticking Post-it notes in columns or put note cards on a table kind of organized by color, that theory, that Kanban theory, is the manual version of what Trello is the electronic version of. So the first thing is each of these columns represents a project. And the theory behind this is a project should be a set of tasks, and a task should be one action item with a deadline that's assigned to one or more people that can complete the task. If you've got, oh, is my connection really bad? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can. It's actually more good than bad, but just making sure it's not me. You just cut out.
Does anybody else have a problem hearing me? I could try and turn off and switch to a different headset or something else.
It's a signal issue.
It's. I think it's good on my end.
Might be me.
Okay. So the whole theory on this is a project is different from a task, is different from the entire enterprise level solution. So if you think about this, you tend to organize your life into projects and tasks. Learning Spanish is a project. Picking up your dry cleaning is a task. So the big challenge that Trello is trying to solve is tasks and projects shouldn't be on the same list, and projects shouldn't be on a list as a standalone. So learning Spanish is something that you shouldn't try and knock out as one task. You should try and break it into tasks. So this is what we're doing with REtoken. Does that make sense so far? And how this is organized? Cool. Okay. So Jason, by the way, can you please monitor the chat and just interrupt me if anything comes up? I'm trying to do both. And
yeah, I was just saying hello to Ryan, who's hanging out in the YouTube audience tonight, and anybody else that may be hanging out on the live stream, feel free to chime in on the chat. We are a tokenized Web3 community, and we do actively reward people that are participating here on the Zoom and on the live stream from your comment standpoint. So welcome everybody tonight. Back to you, Tyler.
Okay, thanks, babe. So so the first thing is we do have this thing on the left. Can you guys see my mouse moving when it's moving? Okay, so here on the left, this is the QR code to this Trello board. If you guys are in any kind of happy hours or situations where you might not necessarily have links, but you just want to Jason keeps a picture of this on his phone. So when he's inviting people to our project at like Bitcoin and Beer or some of the happy hours that happen around that he goes to in person, this is a fun way to have that. So that's the first thing I want to point that out. Second thing is I want to show you how this all works. So under events or REtoken DAO, this Trello card, each one of these is a card. So the list is a project, and then this is a card. If you double click on this, it'll open up the card. So the description is right here. You can add in a detailed description, discussion about the basics of how to use Trello. You can make this description as blank or detailed as you want. It also follows, hey, Nicholas. Oh, I have to admit him. It follows a Markdown language. So if any of you guys are familiar with Markdown, you can make headlines, you can make bullet points, using pound signs and stars, and asterisks, it follows that markdown language. If you guys have questions about that, we'll get into that in a minute. One of the things that we really like about this is if you're attaching a file, the Trello app and Trello.com, the website, really seamlessly integrated. They've done a great job with this. They also have extremely high limits of the file size you can add in. So if you want to add a picture or an attachment, you can add in whatever you want. You can see that Yonks added the POAP here. He added the video thumbnail. This makes it, number one, it makes the board more colorful and interesting. And number two, it makes it easy for Amy to grab them when she does POAP. So that's super easy. Does that make sense so far? How to attach a file, how to do the description? All right, cool. So the next feature down, and you don't have to add in all these features. You don't have to write a description. You don't have to attach anything. You don't have to have a checklist. It's really handy. What Yonk started with on this was in the event creation on the right here where it says checklist. You can add a checklist. You can add more than one checklist. You can copy items. Let me minimize this real fast. You can copy items from a different card if you wanted to copy them from somewhere else that you've already had a checklist. If you want, what's really nice about the event checklist is you can, again, make this as task oriented as you want. So he created the Trello card. He created the Google event. So he's actually checking stuff off in real time on this. And that's, so as soon as anybody on the board does anything, everybody else who's on the board sees it in real time and updates everybody in real time. So I wasn't doing that while that stuff was getting checked off. He was. You can hit hide checked items if you want to. This is really helpful for a long list. If you say, hey, what do I still have to do? You just hide the checked items and you'd say, okay, there's one thing that I still have to do. Okay, hide the checked items, everything's checked, it's done. If you want to add another item, send out POAPs for event participation. You just add it in, that's done. If you say, that really wasn't something that I wanted to do, you can either delete it or you can convert it to its own card. So if you said, actually, POAPs are more complicated, I'd rather have that be its own card. Now, you can see here at the bottom, send out POAPs for event participation is something that turned into its own card. And now you can assign this, you can add another description, you can make this its own task. So if you think a task has multiple steps, then you can make that work however you need to make it work. Does that make sense for everybody so far? Cool. Does anybody have any questions before we keep going? Great. Okay, the next thing is about how you actually manage the card. So that's how you set up the card. This is primarily a tool for task management. So when you join a card, if you hit join, you can just assign it to yourself. You say, okay, that's a task I'm willing to pick up. Jason just added himself also. If I say, okay, I'd also like to add this person, I'd like to add this person, you'll get a pop-up on your phone. You may have just gotten one if you have the app installed. Jason just added a due date. You can make this date however you want. You can add a custom time. You can add custom reminders, add it, remove it. If you guys hear my phone going off in the background, it's because I'm getting Trello pop-up reminders as we're managing this. So you can also say, oh, I didn't mean to assign it to that person. You just unassign it. It's as easy as that. That's it. That's how you assign members. Assigning members does a couple things. One is there's a search function that you can say, show me everything that's assigned to me, or show me everything that's assigned to me that's due today, or show me everything that's assigned to me that's overdue. So if you're on the task board and you're trying to figure out what tasks people are expecting you to do, what's overdue, what's due, that's how you do it. If you're not assigned to a card, it won't show up. If it doesn't have a due date, it won't show up as overdue. As much as possible, we try to use due dates so that we can search for things. We're not always super consistent about that. Something that it's a skill we're trying to get better at. But it's something that's really helpful because as people are going through the tasks, you want to make sure that people stay on point. You can also, in the sort, you can say sort by the newest, sort by the oldest, sort the card alphabetically, sort by the due date. And so if you say, hey, I don't know what I want to take on, what's something that's old that's been pending for a while. If it's old and it's pending, like for example, this event card, the opportunity zone, this is a past event. So this Jason and I actually bought tickets for this. We're waiting for the replay on it, but this is something that we could probably just complete an archive or complete and just or leave it open. But that's something that's an example of something for a due date that it once it's past due, it just doesn't make sense to do it anymore. This is something for this was an event for crowd create that already happened. So our book club is something that it happens on a weekly basis. So on a lot of these dates, you have to change the date from time to time because our book club happens every week. Once we're done with getting things done, which was one of the drivers of using this tool, then we're going to change the name. We're going to archive this card. So we'll keep changing the date until this card needs a few more details that we'll add in. But if you wanted to add in a cover page, you can add in the cover of the book. If you want to add in dates and checklists and things like that. The other thing on the bottom is if you want to move a card, if the easiest way to move it is you can actually just drag it back and forth to different lists. If you realize something is just on a list that it shouldn't be on, you can actually just pull it over. If you want to reorganize a list or move it to a different board or move it to a different project, you can actually move it in the card by changing the list, or you can just drag it over. So it just really depends on how you prefer to do things. On these lists, you can move stuff, you can copy it. If you want to create multiple versions of something, of saying, hey, this is an event that needs multiple copies of it. I just want to kind of tweak some different things, but I don't want, you can just copy the entire card, can make it into a template. You can watch a card without actually being assigned to it. So if you say, hey, I don't actually want to assign myself to do the work on that card, I just want to get notified when it gets completed, you can watch it. And then if you archive a card, it gets hidden, but it's still searchable. So this is really important on Trello. It's not Google Docs. If you delete something, it's gone. So please be super careful about just randomly deleting stuff or editing things or changing them. If you are just editing things to edit them, you're making a permanent change, and that's not recoverable. So you guys are all more than welcome to be part of this board. If you're concerned that you're just going to get a little trigger happy, I can make you a viewer. You're all invited to be an editor if you want, but that's the reason why we don't give everybody editing privileges, just to make sure that people who don't know what we're doing don't start getting in, deleting everything and moving it, rearranging it, because we can't, there is no undo on here. That makes sense. So yeah, so that's the first set. Any questions you guys have so far?
Yeah, before we continue, going back to events, so we don't have one for Sunday's call yet, right?
Correct. We don't have one for Sunday's call yet.
Okay.
And that's something, Jason, did you, let's see. Jason usually puts all of these on the, so the complete weeks, we were going to get to this here in a minute, but done week 46, 47, 48. These we label everything by week number. It just makes it easy to keep track of. This is one of many tasks that Jason has taken on that's kind of arduous, and that's why I really appreciate you, Blur, stepping up for the first part of this. But yeah, so what we do is, so on this, all the voting proposals, we use markdown language, all of these things. If you actually click open the card, the stars and the single hashtags and the double hashtags, that's just markdown language if you're not familiar with that, to format the card. You can actually copy and paste this directly into a voting proposal and snapshot. And when you view it, it will actually show cleanly like this, so everything will be bold and highlighted. This is exactly, so Trello uses markdown language, and so does Snapshot. So you can actually copy something directly off a Trello card onto this. One of the things that we like to kind of keep a running tab of is to make sure that we don't lose things. We don't miss things. And so we tend to put prior treasury distribution proposals grouped weekly, treasury distribution proposals. This is all stuff that Jason organizes on all this. And then I know there was some concern that some people who wanted to vote on things didn't have REtoken yet. We're a little behind on airdrops. We're planning on getting those caught up here tonight. And so everybody who wants to vote will be able to do that. Any other questions so far? All right, cool.
So I guess for like, I mean, I'm going to be selfish here since I got to do the call on Sunday.
Sure.
So should I like take last week's core call, which I'm assuming is going to be under done 2021 48, maybe?
I think it's 49. I think Jason's 50 right now. Or
yeah, it's got to be 50 right now.
well,
Right? 50.
No, we're in 49 right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I
had a
forgot
busy
Monday to
week.
Sunday. So Sunday's the last day, week 49. So the
Yeah, so I should just copy the core call from that week and make that for this week.
yeah,
Okay, I'm going to try to do that while you're going.
sure. So all these Trello cards, this one was for the how to create a crypto white paper. Some of you guys were on that call. One of the things that we're trying to make this thing pretty easy to follow and pretty easy for somebody else to replicate. For those of you guys who stepped up to be team leads, or for anybody that wants to be a little bit more involved in the community, step one is we create an RSVP event. This link is a clean link that goes into directly into these things: the YouTube, the Facebook stream, the LinkedIn stream, Restream, the tweet, what are these? This was our agenda that we went through.
Go to the top. There's a template card under the how-to, which is next to the week 46 done. And this is a way where you can just click on the little create card from template and then modify the title of the card, and that'll actually copy that checklist. That's a checklist that I made, and this is one of the opportunities that I was talking, and I don't know how much that the process will change, but the opportunity to automate a lot of that stuff that's on the checklist, because that's one of the nice things about using a tool like Zoom, is that there's a lot of API and third-party integrations and stuff like that. So ideally, it would be the best, in my opinion, if we got to a point where, or maybe had some type of like input form where it's like, hey, let's create a REtoken event, and then all the magical stuff happens on the back end. Now we're a ways from that, but that's something that we could potentially aspire towards. And, you know, whether we're using Trello or potentially like Design was talking about some other task management. And to be clear, we haven't had solid conversations about task management tool. This is something that Tyler and I brought to the conversation, and we have no problem like taking a step back and like if the community at large wants to evaluate a new tool with everything else that we're introducing here from a tooling standpoint in December, I think it would be better to curb that conversation to January and see if it makes sense to bring that up then. And always open for evaluating tools and, you know, making things better, faster, more efficient, easier for all of us so that we can, you know, be productive and accomplish the underlying goal, which it seems like everybody wants things to be super simple. And I'm a fan of simplicity.
No, absolutely. Who else has comments, questions, ideas?
You should go to the space and show like the other boards. I don't think we should necessarily go into because we have the roadmap, which is also a another space or another board on the REtoken space. And this might be something for consideration. It's not necessarily something I would say, hey, we need to get this in place today or tomorrow, but something to think about as we start getting more definitions within like the additional teams that we're creating here during REtoken relaunch here this month.
It just for fun and games. So if you don't mind going back to the events, I created a I created an event. There, whoop, I moved it up to second to the top.
Okay, this one.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's go ahead and give that a click. So
Excellent.
Yeah. So I left a bunch of. Okay. I need to clean up the LinkedIn one too, but yeah, so I would need to get the, whoa, it lost all my changes. Okay, so I totally screwed up somewhere.
Well, you hit create Trello card, so that was a change. And then,
well, yeah, it lost my change. I had all that, and then I had to, because I unchecked everything, and then I saved it, and then, but I had all the links removed. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened there.
I'm glad we're doing this now.
And it might be an unsaved change for you there, Blurs. That sometimes happens too, like when you're working on a change for the description where you can go back.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry about that. If you happen to edit something that you didn't mean to edit, you may be able to just undo it and then close the card out. If you don't, but if you save it, then yeah. So it's not, again, it's not like Google Drive, and that it doesn't just instantly change anything that's unsaved, but a lot of stuff is, so you just kind of like some of the functionality you got to play around with a little bit.
Yeah, I know it's a learning curve.
And there's a lot of stuff that can be done as far as like really leveling up the capabilities of this tool, and that's not something that we've even really started to scratch the surface with, as far as how Tyler and I have been using this ourselves. But there is the opportunity through power-ups, and the way I understand is that Trello did provide or does provide unlimited power-ups. So like one of the power-ups that may be worth exploring is some type of sync or integration with our GitHub, because that may be a mechanism that we could utilize for doing some type of automation with our other tools. So just kind of putting that out there for things for people to think about.
All right. Yeah, I didn't notice the save button at the bottom, so I closed it out for hitting that. So, okay, cool. So now you can see my little changes just to the placeholders for the different links that we got to do. So, Yonks, if you don't mind, would you be willing to still make the POAP with your awesome art skills, just to keep things consistent with what you're doing?
No, absolutely. And until we get like something in place for the POAP stuff, and this is something too, like if people want to get creative on that, that's just something that I kind of hacked together that I think it looks decent. I mean, like I look at the POAPs that we've got compared to some of the other POAPs that I've got in my collection, and it's know, and like, so it's they're not horrible, but they could definitely be better.
I'd like to see if Double D would maybe hopefully see if we can get him to step up as a graphic designer.
I know, right, right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll talk offline for the rest of the logistics for Sunday. We'll keep going then.
Yeah, and we'll get you the, and I don't know if those are of value. Like this is one of the things too where love hearing feedback, and some of that I just put in there for my own purpose. I don't know if we even have the capability of seeing how much that people are looking from like a analytics standpoint at the data on these, or if it really helps SEO. Because that and this is kind of like another reason that I do this, because this board is a public board. So I do think that this can potentially help SEO. And I don't know if that's really real or not, but it's a possibility. I'm not definitely a SEO ninja or anything like that.
All right, cool. So yeah, on the POAPs and on the boards, Jason's still planning on being on these calls, so am I. It's just really helpful to have somebody that is doing, because as you can see, there are lots of steps, getting everything set up, getting the agenda going. This is also something that we tend to edit throughout the week. If there's something that we are talking about or thinking about, or comes up in Discord, or one of you guys mentions or whatever, a lot of times we'll be like, that would be a great thing to bring up on the core team call, or on a community call, or at our next ambassador working group or dev team or whatever. So a lot of times this is our parking lot for ideas, of saying this is a really good thing that we need to connect with people on. So yeah. So the next thing is on the invite link, you can actually invite anybody with their email to join this. If you want to create a link or use a QR code, you just hit that. If this is really helpful if you guys are doing in-person networking and just want kind of a doodad to pull out of being like, hey, join our team, join our board, here's our Discord, here's whatever. So if you want to do it, fine. If you don't, fine. It's available. We would like to have as many people as possible on Trello, because as we're getting bigger, that's something that is that's going to come up. Hey, Jason, can you drive for 1 second?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you need me to share my screen or?
Yeah, the baby's screaming, so I just want to go make sure she's not on fire. So I will be right back.
I bet that she's definitely not on fire.
Well, one can never be too sure, so.
And like the other space too that we have stuff on is the roadmap, and that's one of the things, again, to have, or encouraging people to think about on the roadmap. And I can't remember if Tyler, like one of the other ways besides moving the card, like on mobile, it's a little different experience, and I don't know what the mix of people, how they normally engage as far as from a connected world environment, but it's a little different experience on mobile versus desktop. But you can also click the little pencil here and move, and we're going to move this to the bottom of the done list. So that's one of the things that I find actually a little bit more efficient than dragging the card. And this is one of the things too, like the opportunity, we need to do some house cleaning on the Trello board. And some of these, like, I think a lot of these like proposals that are active, and then there's some proposals that need to be done. And one of the other things too, just from a housekeeping standpoint, is like this token town from a week or two. So like I click on these little bullets, and this is just, again, a little the housekeeping. So we archive this list, and then it just goes in the archival. And it's very easy. If you accidentally unarchive something, you can go over here to the show menu and go to the where it's archived items right here, and switch to lists. And then you've got like a long list of things there. So I found that the done list like that just makes it easier and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just the way that I'm wired, I actually get some satisfaction off of checking things off of a list or a board. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but like over here where we've got 4 done lists, like let's just archive this one from week 46 to just keep the house cleaning a little bit. And like another thought too, like this whole how-to board here, outside of maybe that template card that I was showing earlier, a lot of this stuff could probably be moved to Gitbook from a content standpoint perspective. So that's other opportunities that we've got, like this milestones. This is something that we could probably, again, do some house cleaning on and make a decision on if these are things that we really want to have on our roadmap, or if we can just archive this. This is just like some noteworthy things from that didn't make the list. So I don't know if we should just archive that list and just kind of clean it up, but open for thoughts, like this is our community. Like this isn't make no mistake, this REtoken DAO is not my baby. Tyler's going, she was commenting, our baby might be on fire according to Tyler.
It turns out our baby was not on fire.
Well, that's good. I was really like at the edge of the chair hoping our baby was not burning.
It's, what, spontaneous human combustion is a real thing. You just never know when people are just gonna catch on fire. So I'm just throwing that out there,
So do you want the controls back, or where are we going here?
Sure. I'll take them. We just had a couple more things to cover and then just questions, and then we'll get you guys out of here. So yeah, do I have it back now?
I think you can just start sharing and I'll take it back.
Okay. Let me see here. Trying to open this up. Sorry, one more thing here. Okay, can you see my screen again? Cool. Okay, so we talked about the difference between a list and a project, and a task and an action. One of the things, Jason, did you already cover how to screen for overdue tasks?
No, I didn't go into any fancy stuff. I was just doing some basic like house cleaning as far as like archiving a list, and I showed moving the card with the little pencil and the move thing instead of like dragging and dropping it.
Okay, so this is my little true confession. It's a little embarrassing here. I've got a lot of stuff that's overdue, but this at me, open, due, overdue, a lot of the stuff I have done, and this is actually stuff that if you just look at this, it says EV Winco, and that's another project that my state.eth for Christ DAO. Those are some of Jason and my projects that aren't related to REtoken, but we just use Trello for all of our projects. So a couple things. If REtoken is your only project on Trello, everything that you say at me, do, is open, is overdue, it's going to show you Trello or REtoken. If you happen to like this format and you start adding other projects not related to REtoken, you're going to get a consolidated list of everything. So the search is really nice because it'll show you what you need to do, and then you can say like, okay, I've already done that. This, like some of the stuff, like this is something that I've had some of the stuff open for like a couple years because I just have not done a good job cleaning up Trello. But that's a tool that as our community gets bigger and more advanced, and the projects start getting bigger and more complicated, this is something that's going to get more important. The other thing is you can say show at me due today. So if you say, hey, what's due right now? What do I need to knock out right now? And then the other option that you have is you can actually say show me due at Yonks, or at at Tyler Yonk, or whatever your username is, and then you can say show me everything that's due to this person, and it will show you that. So one of the things that if somebody says, hey, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now, you can say show me at me, or you can just say, hey, I noticed that you were planning on doing A, B, and C, you're a little bit behind, you need some help. It's a way for us to kind of take care of each other as a team and say, hey, we don't want people to sign up for stuff and then they don't get a chance to finish it, and then stuff slips through the cracks. So I think everybody on here is planning on being a team captain. So that's something that will be helpful in your team management as you start doing that. Does that make sense? Cool. those things were really the what I had planned to share with you guys. Does this tool seem a little bit more friendly, helpful now? Do you kind of see where it would fit in?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's archive all those done swim lanes. It's driving me insane. But no, this really helped me a lot. But yeah, definitely the other logistics with the call on Sunday we'll need to talk about, but we don't need to do that here at all.
Sure. So there's two things. If you want to archive an entire list, you can do that. If you want to archive all of the archive this list is different from archive all cards on the list. I'll leave the list open. So if you want to archive the list, that's different. And you can also change it to when a card's added to the list, how you want it sorted, what you want to do with it every day, sort list. This is some of the automations that can be really helpful. You can say every day, show me the sort by the newest thing created. You can kind of eyeball what people have been adding, or show me the oldest stuff, or whatever. If you want when you would archive a list, something like, we're not going to have another 2021 week 47. But if you say, okay, I've moved all the current how-tos over to GitHub or wherever we put them, but we still want a how-to page for more how-tos that get created. Does that make sense? The difference between when you would use one versus the other? Yes, no, cheese. Cool. Okay, well that is what I had prepared for tonight. So any last questions, comments? And Yanks, do you have anything else you want to add on this thing?
No, open to feedback as far as how that this can be more effective. And again, like it's not off the table for having more conversation as far as another task management tool. Trello is definitely a powerhouse when it comes to task management. But you know, the opportunity of trying out new tools, you know, I'm open for trying out all the things as far as what makes it easy for getting things done. Because again, and I will finish it off by plugging our book club coming up on Saturday, 11 Eastern time. That'll be a chapter of Getting Things Done on Clubhouse. The format is listen to a chapter of the audiobook, and then we have some conversations with friends as far as how to basically life hack, be more productive, learn Web3, learn DAO stuff, you know, build cool things here at the DAO. So
one last thing, Nicholas, I don't think I have your wallet. So we award REtoken for everybody who's on the call. I know I have everybody else's. I don't think I have yours. If you have a different name in Discord that I don't recognize, just send me a DM. Hashtag Mrs. Yonks 0771. And just send me your wallet and your Discord name so I know who you are, and I can drop if you want REtoken, I'll drop those in your wallet. Other than that, I think I know everybody else's, but you're the only one I'm missing. And we appreciate you guys all having time. Hopefully this is really helpful. And again, we're live streaming it to YouTube and some other places. If you want to replay it, or if we need to go back over anything or do some advanced strategy stuff or whatever you need to do, let us know, make it work.
Well, thank you so much for doing this little tutorial. Helped me out a lot.
Awesome.
Mostly just because I was too lazy to just dig through it myself. So
you know what? We like doing things the easy way. It's not lazy, it's just efficient.
Well, and the opportunity of having like a 102, like you know, a month or two from now or something like that, absolutely open. And you know, there's probably some really cool things here, like under the hood, if you will. I mean, there's a lot of power-ups, like I said, that we haven't even like started scratching the surface. I did see that Andrea had a comment as far as reason for moving HowTo off Trello. So the thoughts on that is like the HowTo template that provides functionality within the Trello environment, but Trello is more for task management, not really like documenting on things. And that was kind of a interim solution. Like a lot of the how-to content, that is in that lane was more created before we had our Git book. And the Git book is a very clean, as far as looking at the docs. I don't know if everybody's seen that. I'm putting it in the Zoom chat, and I'll put it on the YouTube chat too. And that's the like right here it is, and there it is in the Zoom chat. And I saw that Ryan had some comments here. I was just looking through that. So, and one of the other things too that's definitely worth mentioning that wasn't mentioned before is the why that we're using Trello. And one of the reasons of the why that we're using Trello, most of the other tools that provide this functionality, they provide either a very small subset of features like a trial period, or you only have a limited number of users that you can do. Trello definitely has more of a tiered type of a dynamic. So the deeper that you go into some of the automation and some of the premium features. But one of the things that I've observed here in the several years that we've been using Trello, like one of the newer things, and this is something I've already mentioned, is that they increased their feature set by providing unlimited power-ups. I think prior to August of 21 here, it was a where you could only get like 1 or 2 power-ups before you had to start paying a monthly basis. So the main underlying reason is the cost, and we run a very much of a lean startup DAO here organization. I did see a proposal. There's been a lot of conversation about Bankless, and I do remember seeing a Bankless proposal. I think their monthly Notion subscription is over like $200 a month. And we've had conversations about Discourse. Discourse is a forum tool that's used quite a lot in the crypto space. And that's a tool that costs $100 a month. And you start adding those costs, and they can really start piling up very fast. And we're a startup. We're still working on putting things into place that will generate consistent revenue for our organization. We'll be talking much more about that in 2022, but here in December, we're doing the REtoken relaunch, introducing teams. We've got multiple calendar events coming up here on Saturday. DSign is kicking off the dev team, so looking forward to that conversation at 1 on Saturday. Yeah, and then we've got the Mighty launch team. Tyler's going to be leading. Thank you again, Tyler, for leading the call tonight, and she will be driving the conversation on the Mighty launch team, and that's another tool that we're functionally evaluating here, and it'll be interesting to see what the Mighty launch team puts together so that we have a really like something strong to consider, because I think the biggest thing will be like, what can we do here in the next week on this Mighty network so that we're like, yeah, this is a tool that we need to have. I can't believe we weren't using it before. So that's on Saturday at 2:00. And then we have our core team call, and very thankful Blurs for taking the initiative here, stepping up to be a team captain. This is another initiative that we're kicking off for the next 4 weeks. We're trying out this new function, team captain, and it's going to be a 4-week initiative. And then if somebody else wants to step up to be a team captain in the next cycle, that opportunity will be available. And that just kind of goes under that proposal. This other, I kicked off a whole bunch of Webiddle proposals in the DAO Gov category on Discord, a whole bunch of Webiddle stuff. So when you get a chance and you're bored and you're looking for what are we biddling here at REtoken DAO? Well, that's a lot of stuff that I put forward there, and we'll be talking about that all month here during REtoken relaunch. And Trello is just one of the tools that we use for getting things done. And I really love the mobile experience, as far as I mentioned on the live stream, as far as being a cross-platform, and it's a great tool. So thanks, everybody. Is there any other final thoughts before we call it for a wrap here tonight?
Just if you're not already on the board and you want an invitation, let me know. If you are interested in just kind of checking things out, one of the things I would really encourage everybody to do is sign up, start a card, start a checklist, add a description, whatever. You can just delete it when you're done with it. But the easiest way to figure out how to use this tool is just start using it. And there is a list called tasks to earn REtoken. So if you're interested in earning more REtoken, we're always adding projects. They're usually projects that are designed to be non-repeatable and done in under 4 hours. So it's something like research this quick thing or create something or draft something. We tend to do about 25 REtoken an hour. So anytime that you want to sign, if you just want to earn more REtoken, check out those tasks and assign yourself to them so that we don't miss that you did them and you're expecting REtoken. Because a lot of times, if we don't see anybody else has signed up for something, either Yax or I'll just knock it out real fast. If we've done kind of a cattle call for it, we don't know anybody else is working for it. The best way to claim it is just assign it to yourself, and then we'll know to not do it ourselves and to not assign it to anybody else. So that's super helpful for us and helps us make sure that clean up our bookkeeping, make sure everybody's getting all the tokens that they deserve. So that's it. Thanks everybody. Appreciate all of you being here, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
See y'all.
Goodbye.